And how are you?
Very careful.
Hi, doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we definitely can. Yes,
Thank you.
good.
Okay. I'm sure you're gonna have to be, but I can't complete it. I don't charge that. Yeah. No, mine was a little later. So it was about, but I think it's right, but I'm not going to go and start spraying the high right now. Yeah. So, right. Was around there. Beans are just miles to the. Pretty good cat, you just eat. Yeah.
Okay. They had to separate again.
Yeah, I know. This is small, so. KDHE. I think you'd be here to cover that. It's just. Yeah.
So you said that call.
Just give her a call, and just find out what you have to do.
Okay.
You stay in that place. Good.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. I just put it in. I didn't sound. I think there's a police order. Yeah. It's only for the next year. Right, yeah, no. Yeah. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, that's what it is. It's up to the,
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Could you sign it? please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Seem to be short our chair and our vice chair, and so we're just going to chair.
Nominate Martin because he's done it before.
Sounds good to me. Okay. So you guys put it in the middle. And let's set that on.
Yeah. It's like out this one.
Take a look at it again.
So this is your son.
This is our son's.
So you don't have one?
I have one son.
Last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Only place, it's three little buckets.
Yeah. How old is he?
Season months now.
Yeah, all we're doing now. Grandma.
That's like to be that old.
Yeah, I think
We
we're.
will call the meeting to order. Staff, could you do roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Hedstrom, here, Commissioner Wolf,
Here.
Commissioner Schneider,
Here.
Commissioner Barrett,
Here.
Commissioner Griffiths, here, Commissioner Fink and Volkman are absent. Next up, approval of the minutes for September 18th.
Anyone have any exceptions to the minutes from the September 18th meeting? Changes, exceptions?
Mr. Chairman, I had a couple of additions to propose. Covering the last 20 minutes of the meeting approximately, covering the discussion that was had about road and bridge, how it was redundant when we requested it in the process, they're contacted after. And then regarding townships, if the board can place a condition of approval, just wanted to memorialize those in the minutes for that clarification that we appreciate. And then the next point I had was we had a general discussion that regarded the requirement of a complete and accurate application. We had a discussion about that. Staff indicated that it was referenced in Article 14. Commissioner Snyder, you asked how to add an item to the agenda. Mr. Hedstrom requested that we address your question at the next meeting. And then finally, I requested a copy of the bylaws. So I've got a printed out version of my proposed amendments to those minutes.
Could you email those to me?
Sure. Yeah.
Would move to approve the minutes with the additions.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second with the addition of these two items to the minutes, and staff has asked that they be emailed to him, and you've agreed to do that. Is there any other discussion that needs to happen to approve the minutes for September 18th? If not, then I'll go ahead and ask for all those in favor of approving the minutes with the addendum of these two items from Commissioner Barrett to raise their right hand for approval. Same sign to disapprove. Motion carries. Next on the agenda will be new business. CUP 25-03, consideration of a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of an agricultural seed retailer generally located in section 24. Oh, I'm sorry. That's September 18th. Yeah. Let me get to this is October, isn't it? Yeah. Want to make sure it's the right month. October 16th. Looks like on our agenda then will be. Sorry. CUP 25-04, consideration of a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of a shop for retail sale of tools, produce, footwear generally located on a parcel of land at the northeast corner of Jeep Road and 3500 Avenue at the request of Aden and Wilma Miller. Before we go there, we have someone on telecommunications. Can we just have that open? Why that is?
That's for the second item that's on the agenda, used for the old unfilled business.
Okay. Okay. At that time that she will be introduced?
Yes.
Very good. Tim, could you go ahead then and review the application, please, of CUP 25-04?
Yes, this is a request by Aden and Wilma Miller. The existing land use at this site at 3500 Jeep is cropland with a home site. They're proposing retail shop for sale of tools, produce, and footwear. This parcel is within an area designated as best for agricultural activity, but currently some of the Ag 80 district. This is an 83.4 acre parcel located in section 12, township 11, South Range 2 East, generally located in the northeast corner of 3500 and G. This area is surrounded, this particular parcel is surrounded by Ag 80 zoning with similar, residential and crop land adjacent to it. The applicant is proposing, as I said, retail sale of tools, etc. 2 new structures are proposed. This would be a 30-foot by 40-foot shop with a 20-foot by 30-foot extension for storage. The parking area is integrated with the driveway and is in conformance with Article 16 regarding parking for retail establishments. The address assigned to this property is not in conformance with the 911 system as required, so you'll have to get that changed. No direct public comments up until today. So, however, comments from other departments and agencies. Staff has received comments from Cheever Township expressing concerns of potential impact on roads due to increased traffic. Also expressed the need to amend the current township road maintenance agreement should this application be approved. Staff has also been in contact with Kansas Department of Health and Environment to address potential violations of state sanitary code requirements. The review criteria that we have, item A, approval of this conditional use would not be contrary to the intent and purpose of these regulations. Though any potential violation of the state environmental code must be addressed prior to any additional building permit being issued for this use. Item B, the land use pattern for this area is consistent with other areas within the county that are currently zoned Ag 80, mainly a lower density of population and mix of predominantly cropland with a few residential uses. Item C, Cheever Township has expressed concerns over the additional traffic may impact Jeep Road north of 3500 Avenue, and that the additional terms for the maintenance agreement currently in force may need to be amended for properties both on Jeep and 3500. The item D, no changes have occurred in this area that would facilitate this use. The Planning Commission has considered similar requests in previous cases in this area in particular. The item E, the current use as agricultural cropland or grazing land has been in existence for many years. Item F, this property contains approximately 84 acres. This acreage is sufficient to allow for a limited impact commercial use. This property has enough acreage that the proposed commercial use in the future could be separated if it is, since there's no topographical limitations. The recommendation of permanent professional staff is located below. Item H, subject parcel is located within an area designated on the future land use map as suitable for agricultural use, which means the infrastructure required to support such facility is present, but may require special agreements between property owners and the township board for maintenance of unimproved roads. Item I, the health, safety, and general welfare of the public and surrounding properties may not be impacted by this proposed use, provided the property complies with all corrective action to current environmental conditions deemed a nuisance by KDHE and environmental services, as well as the agreement with the township board on any road maintenance issues. Item J, staff has concluded there will be no adverse impact based on items A through I above, provided compliance again with all state requirements and local requirements as stated herein. Item K, currently no other factors with the exception of those discussed herein are considered. Staff our recommendation is no building permit will be issued and no transaction of business shall take place at this site until the following conditions are met. I have an addendum or an amendment to these conditions. So if you look at condition number 3, where it says property adjacent to subject parcel, discard that. Do not consider it. Cross through that after further review from counsel and advice from counsel. It has been stated I cannot include another parcel as a clients of another parcel to be part of an application that you're considering that's not incidental to what's already being requested. So item 3, discard. So the condition therefore would be proof submitted to staff that all KDHE violations have been resolved, including removal of any animal parts and improper drainage of animal refuse into right of way. Proof from the township that an amended road maintenance agreement between the township board and the applicant is approved to the satisfaction of the board, addressing conditions on Jeep Road and 3500 Avenue. Item number 4 is address the proposed use to be assigned based on location of the main entrance. So the alternatives would be recommend approval of the request with any conditions as listed above or any additional conditions as deemed necessary by the commission, or recommend denial of the request. They did submit the applicant a site plan that is scaled out. And I also included an aerial photograph. In the aerial photograph, you'll see, and just for reference, that the large building, the white roof is the calf barn as indicated on the site plan. So it's kind of a and with that, the applicant is present, if they want to have any further comment.
Right, the applicant is present. If you'd like to, speak to us, more than welcome at this time.
Yeah, I didn't, he said it pretty close to, you know, what it is gonna be, so.
Okay. If the applicant doesn't have any other information, then I think we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at this time. Prior to doing that, let me read some guidelines for the public, please. Addressing the planning commission. The public is invited to speak to the board during the public hearing portion of any item under discussion. Please raise your hand. After being recognized, give your name and address, proceed with your questions and comments. We'd ask for you to come to the podium, please. Shortly after the applicant presents his case, the planning commission may ask questions of the applicant. The board will discuss those answers. After the board rests, the chair will invite comments from interested persons for, against, or neutral. The board will conduct discussion and take action if possible. Citizens are asked to limit your remarks. Please do not repeat comments already made by previous speakers. Due to the time frame, please limit your remarks to clear and concise statements. The chairman may have to put a limit on the number of speakers. The board will attempt to be fair, flexible, and to ensure all those that are interested are heard. All zoning changes, conditional uses, and subdivision proposals will go from this board to the county commissioners with recommendation of approval or denial. All issues heard this evening will go to the county commission after the 14-day appeal period, if applicable. Should you be interested in attending that meeting, please contact the zoning administrator, Tim, or county clerk for the scheduled hearing date and time. If you wish to file a protest petition, please contact the zoning administrator for the forms needed. The zoning administrator will explain the petition process. Thank you for coming. Your input is always appreciated. Prior to the public speaking, does the board have any questions for the applicant? Let's do that.
I have a question about, it says, Cheever Townships expressed concerns over the impact on the roads due to increased traffic. They also expressed the need to amend the current township road maintenance agreement should this application be approved. What is the current township road maintenance agreement?
I would default to the township. They're here to, I believe, present to.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
Oh, okay, so during public comments,
Yeah, there
then we
we
can have the township speak?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. I have a question, Aden. Are you currently living on the property?
Yeah, we are,
Is that correct?
yeah,
Okay, and you have a calf barn there, so you have a farming operation.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you want to just expand this to have some type of a retail?
Yeah,
Store
well,
there.
yeah, my sister's the one that is gonna have like a little shop for
Okay,
boots, shoes, produce, it's gonna be a little of everything, you know, whatever she can get a hold of. Just kind of stuff for her to do, like, there might be snacks in there, whatever.
okay,
And then part of it I'm gonna have for a shop, like one end is gonna be a shop.
Okay.
And someday it'll probably all be a shop if she ever moves out or whatever. So, and that's what, it's just gonna be for tools and yeah, whatever. So,
okay. Okay. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Aden? This time? Okay, we may have questions for you later
Okay.
after public comment,
okay.
but thank you. That, anything for it before I open public?
No, just this case, if once the planning commission, I meant to mention this after you got through. If the planning commission's recommendation is going to go to the county commission, that will be 2 weeks from today. And the protest petition, I'm assuming everybody here got some sort of notification from me. So the way it works is 20% of the notified area. If you sign off on a protest petition for it, then that goes to the county commission. The county commission then can approve this case through supermajority vote of approval rather than a simple majority vote. So it's just, but it doesn't necessarily deny it. It's just one more extra step for an approval through the county commissioners. And just if you have any questions, just come see me. Either email me, call me, come by my office, and I'll get you whatever if you want to file a petition or something. Just come see me.
Okay. This is glaring to me, and so I'm gonna open up this question. Proof submitted to staff that all KDHE violations have been resolved. So currently there are KDHE violations on this property.
Been brought to staff's attention, yes, from the township.
Okay, the township has brought it to your attention. Have you confirmed then that there is KDHE violations?
Yeah, KDHE actually contacted me this afternoon and said they're in the process of writing a letter to them and just to address the issues that are there. I didn't get a chance to read through it, but
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Just segueing off what you said there, Tim, can you expand on the second half of item 1? We talked about the KDHE part of it. You can expand on the second part of that sentence about the animal parts.
yeah, it's it's basically there may be, I didn't see it, but there may be animal parts and improper drainage of animal refuse into the right of way. We did investigate. I did with Road and Bridge Department. There's a spot on Jeep Road that's part of that parcel where the drainage ditch is. There was something. It's you're supposed to have only water draining into those ditches, and we discovered that there was probably something a little more than just water draining in there. So that's where a lot of this comes from.
Thank you.
I think we'll go ahead and open it up for public discussion. Again, we'd like your name, your address, and we'd like you to be at the podium as you're addressing the commission, please. So anyone interested in addressing the commission from the public? Kurt?
Steve Debenham.
If you'd like, because of your impairment, if you'd like to sit there, that's fine.
Okay.
I won't let you get up.
All right.
But your name and address, please.
Steve Debenham,
Steve Debenham.
1074 3600 Avenue,
Okay.
and I own property to the south of that. Brian owns property over there. You have a map. We don't get that map.
I have an aerial view.
He's got an aerial view. They want to put that in the northeast corner of that behind the house. Or alongside the house.
It's closest to Jeep Road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
In front of the house and to the
You got the house,
south of the barn.
south and west.
you got the house there, and then it's more
okay,
close.
you want it over here then.
That's where they're proposing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know, is that gonna be on skids or permanent? If it's on skids, you pay no taxes. If it's permanent, you have to pay tax.
Okay. That would be more considered in a building permit, would that not?
It would.
In the building permit process.
And this cattle shed, where they have it, that drains everything out of the cattle shed right over into the road, out the ditch. Cow shit and everything.
Okay.
It's set up that way. There's no barrier. Should have been a barrier put in there.
Okay, it appears that KDHE has been contacted and
And that.
they're investigating that.
I
It appears.
understand.
Okay.
So then my next problem is, do they have state permits, county permits to handle food?
They would, it
They
depends.
would have to get them.
Yeah, they would have to get whatever state requirements there are to handle. If it's produce, if it's something you're growing, then you don't necessarily, if it's like a roadside type situation. But if it's processed, then yeah, they would have to meet some sort of.
Good. That's my statement.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Any other comments or questions, that the public has? Please.
Chantel Debenham, and we're 980 13600 Avenue. But we do have ground over by this area. My concern is, we've lived out here for years. We have generations that have lived out there. We have lots of roads that are non-maintained, but we go around to the roads that are maintained so that it helps our township and everything not have to go and try to fix these areas. And we've noticed in the last few years, however long it's been, that we've had Amish family out there with their carts and things, the way they cut through the ground, it really tears up the roads. And also they take the non-maintained roads, which tears them up even worse. And we have to get machinery and things through there. And it's very rough. In our township, guy that does all the roads tries to go and fix it, but he can't get deep enough into the road because it'll tear it up even more and it's pulling up rocks. So the ruts just stay in there. And then when it rains, it runs down through there and creates a bigger problem. And my issue is with, that's only like 3 families, but now they're gonna pull in a shop, which is gonna bring even more people in. And so it's gonna create more problems. And we only have so much money that's allocated to roads for our township. And I don't understand how we're gonna pay to correct all this and keep it all up. And we've already spent a ton of money widening the roads and putting rock in. And you can go down the road where they put a bunch of rock in, there's no rock left. Like, it just beats it into the road. And so I'm just worried the rest of our township isn't gonna get the road work and everything and the rock that it needs, because we're busy putting money everywhere else. And I know they're working that into the roads and contract stuff or whatever, that they have to pay for it, but it's very rough on our roads. And even where they went and worked it, they're pulling up huge limestones and rock that are down underneath there that have been helping keep the roads where they're at, and it's pulling it up and making the roads horrible to go up and down with our machinery. I understand that our machinery is huge and it goes up and down it, but we also do not go up and down those roads when it is muddy. We go around, or we wait till it dries out and then we go through there instead of tracking it up when it is muddy, and it makes a huge difference. And that's my worry, is just when you bring in these extra people and extra things, traffic, whatever, it's going to make a huge difference on how everybody gets through there. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else would like to speak to address the commission?
Howard Engel, 3353 Gulf Road, and I'm on the township board along with Deb and Dennis Marston. And yeah, the road agreement that you were talking about, Tim, I'll try to explain it the best I can. Like Chantel said, a number of years ago, of course, all the costs of operating a township have just started to increase and increase more. And we were, barely staying even the way we were. And so it came to our attention that when people want to rock and move in on a road that has not been previously rocked, it just takes a lot more rock. Mm-hmm. And so we asked the county for any guidance, and they said, we can't find anything in our past experience to guide you on how to set up a road agreement, okay, a maintenance agreement. And so we started talking to a few other townships, and we came up with what we thought would help. And Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but when somebody moves down, puts a house in on a road that has not previously been rocked, we have them pay for rock for, is it 2 years?
They have to build the road up
Yeah.
to our spec. And then they have an obligation for 2 years because it takes quite a long time for that road to get built up. When they're choosing to build on these low maintenance roads, it's really what they are. And then we maintain, as far as snow removal, grading the roads, their obligation is for the rock, if they choose to build on these minimum maintenance roads. If it's a business, then that obligation increases. So what we ran into with our Miller group, and we had a meeting with them last week, was that they come in and they establish their homesteads, and then after that, they're putting a business on the property. So we came to an agreement that we would prorate how many years they've been there with the requirement for the business obligation. And because we spent, was it $25,000 more on rock last year? And we don't.
That's a $75,000 budget.
Yes.
It's quite an increase.
Yes, and we can't go backwards on it. We don't have the money to do that every year, to spend that additional money on rock.
Yeah.
So anybody that comes into our township, and this is kind of based off of some other townships that we talked to, there's a rock obligation if they build not on an existing graveled road.
But with the business, we decided to go out 5 years with the rock.
Because
So
semis and.
yeah, so the business will pay the first 5 years, rocking the road to keep that maintenance up. But then after that, why the township will take over.
The rock.
Yeah, we'll take over the rock. Because by then we should have a good base built, and we should be able to handle that. But yeah, the concerns, Chantel, you brought up are very real, and it is what it is, and we're gonna do the best job we can, doing what we can with the situation. I came in to talk to the tax collectors here at the courthouse, and was just asking, where we get taxes, if there was any chance of getting more, to help. They said, no.
That's actually what I'm gonna ask the county administrator here.
Oh, okay.
Done.
Good.
Is how the county works with the townships, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt you.
But yeah, we're like every other township, we're doing the best we can with the things that we've been given. And we'll continue to do that as long as we can. And if we run out of money, we run out of money. But and then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, we're doing the best we can. And we do have this road agreement in place, and that will help. Okay, it'll really help, especially on these roads that have not ever been rocked. Because it does. I mean, it takes a long time. Like the road the Millers built on. I mean, that rock, Chantel's not joking, that rock is just gone. It is just gone. And I went down, well, I've gone, I have a pasture right there too. And so I go down that road pretty often. And there's no other road in our township that is as bad as that road. There's about 1.5 miles there that we just can't keep rock on. And so, is there a lot of traffic on that road? Absolutely. And it's different traffic, than what we've been used to in the past. But that's, change is hard, and we're going to get through it one way or another. But we'll work together and do the best job we can with what we got. If there's any other questions, yeah.
So do you guys require base rock to put down first?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we go with some heavy rock first. Yeah.
And then is your road maintenance agreement with the applicant, is that in writing?
Yes, it is. And they sign it. Yes.
And it's been reviewed by an attorney?
I don't know if it's been reviewed by an attorney.
Probably.
Tim, I think, did you?
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But if you could all we would require is that, you know, our policy is if they can provide us, show us that they have entered into an agreement that is satisfactory to both parties, then that's acceptable to us. We'll have that on file. So that when we issue you know, usually years ago, I got a backstory. I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you a little backstory here. But when before I started here, there was a policy that we enacted, and it goes back a long way, that we kind of coordinate with the townships with regard to building permits on unimproved surfaces. So we used to have in fact, I've got it here, a document here that used to be on the back of our building permits, building permit on one side and a township road agreement on the other. And for years, we had that on our permits, but because of some other issues that were pressing at the time, that policy never ended, but that came off of permits. So it was now a separate document, you know, but the policy is still there. And so I went back now just recently because of this and started putting it back on, and as a way of showing proof that yes, they have entered into an agreement. One of the conditions is, and this is where you start getting into jurisdictional stuff, where I compare it to like Red Bud Lake, where they have their own association that approves permits before I do. So I'll say they'll approve. Somebody will come to like Red Bud Association, get a project approved, then they come to me and I sign off on it. Similar thing with the townships in that there's a proposal, and in the case of the townships, because you're dealing with a separate jurisdiction, they have to put in, they would prefer that before any use goes in there, that the improvement goes in first. You see what I'm saying? So that before the use actually goes, you know, gets approved. So before I approve or sign off on a building permit, they would like to see the rock going to like the driveway, rock to the driveway. And in the past, that's been fairly easy to come by. I don't know what it's like now. It sounds like that's becoming more of a challenge. So this may cause like the approval of a building permit to be kind of extended out a little bit further before I can actually approve something until they get the rock put in there. So, other than that, you know, I mean, that's basically kind of the history behind the county's relationship with the township. So,
And Danny and the Millers have been real good to work with. I mean, they've signed the agreement and they've held up their end of the deal. You know, that's what we ask, you know, and that's the way you work together as a community. You know, you agree on something and you fulfill your agreement. Back to you, James. Do you think we should have a lawyer look at it, or?
It's certainly up to you guys, and I understand that our we really don't care as long as there's something in place. But if I was on the township, if I was signing something to somebody, I would just, especially like this, I would have an attorney review it. I mean,
Does the county have one that we could show it to?
That's a Janelle question.
Oh, okay.
Well, we could show it to the county counselor, and Doug would do that, just send it to me.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it.
All right.
It just seems prudent.
Sure. Yeah. My farmer mind didn't think that way. Sorry.
Mine didn't used to be this.
It's not anything very complicated.
Right. Very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple and
Because
straightforward.
we needed to be able to give the county something for them to do the permits.
Right,
so,
right.
yeah. And I don't know why our township never had one, because other townships do, so, but we have one.
Just depends on the township board
Right.
in that place. So that
Right.
just goes back to, township boards are elected, so
Mhm.
you can set your mill levy based on your budget and your valuation of the property and that. So they're their own taxing entity. Yes.
It may be that Millers are great to work with, but the next.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
And you need to protect yourself and.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys probably never had anything like that come up until this
We
recently.
have
too,
not.
So it really makes a
Yes.
difference.
Yeah, thanks for your wisdom.
I got a question.
Howard,
Yes.
no,
Okay, I've heard the comment that the gravel and the traffic on these minimum maintenance roads. So the road that we're talking about is a minimum
No,
maintenance
no,
road?
no,
Well,
no, it's
dirt,
not.
I should say dirt. They were dirt roads.
Yeah, they were dirt
Okay,
roads.
they're not minimum maintenance,
No.
that has to be posted.
Yeah,
Right,
excuse me,
correct.
I'm incorrect.
Yes, that's
You're
correct.
you're just graveling a regular road, that's
It's a
a
dirt road.
dirt road, but it's
Yes, that's
a
correct.
regular road.
Yes.
I
And
just want to
it,
make sure that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
grading had been kept up and everything, so it wasn't hard to go in and do that. You know, it just disappears, you know, Wally. You put it on, it rains, it disappears.
And when you increase the traffic on
Right.
it, and when you increase the traffic with buggy wheels, then we get the problem of the rutting, and
Yeah,
especially if it's muddy. So.
yeah, it's just something that we've never dealt with before,
Exactly.
so.
I plan on being present at Township Day. Township.
I'm pretty sure I invited you, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I just think.
Yeah.
But I will be present at that meeting with you guys, so if you have any questions, just feel free, any of the
Thanks,
towns.
Tim.
thank you, Howard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself and your address,
Yeah.
please?
Craig Bond, and 1188 3500 Avenue.
And I'm assuming you are also on.
I'm the trustee of the township.
Of the township board, that's in question, please,
Yes.
township. Need to Thank you. Tim, I have a question before we have other public. There's currently improvements on this piece of property.
Correct.
And so were those improvements done with a building permit?
They were done with a building permit. What we do is if it's ag related, then it's, they still have to get a building permit. So the calf barn has a building permit to it, the house has a building permit. So everything that's currently on that you see on the site plan has a building permit.
Okay, in getting that building permit, is there a switch? Is there a red flag that goes, hey, this is not this is a dirt road? There needs to be an agreement with the township before we approve a building permit?
Well,
I'm just trying to look at a.
Yes, that's the thing. Our county as well as other counties around us, what they'll do is if it's ag related, there's not necessarily an agreement needed. But when you start looking at permitted, like let's say building permits for houses and for businesses or anything that might be a shop or commercial in nature, then that requires coordination with the township.
Okay, and there's a house permit on this property. And so was there coordination with the township that there was
I believe there was.
maybe I should ask Howard or.
Yeah.
The road where Aden is, it went past Aden because there's another Miller that goes down the road. So the only thing we had to do with Aden was the entry into the home and the cabin shed. And once it was approved, then they were good to go.
Then am I hearing everything was in place with the building permit of the house, that there was an agreement with the township to improve and put rock on that road for 2 years?
No, because at that time, we didn't have the road agreement. So we were, that's why our road agreement came around, is when the Millers moved into this section of ground. We didn't have a road agreement. So after that all happened and we realized we can't afford to keep doing this, and talked to some other townships, I think it was actually at the last township meeting. We took from theirs and put our township road agreement together. Because prior to that there had not been one, because since I've been on the board, nobody's built on the dirt road, on a dirt road. And we saw that this is just gonna be too expensive for the township to be able to continue to do. And where we are at our RA is at the top. We can't do anything else to get any more money. And like I said, we spent like $25,000 more in raw in 2024, and we just can't continue to do that. So that's why we decided to do the road agreement. So now we do have the road agreement in place, and we have lumber mill that was built off of 3400 on one of the roads over there, and we have a road agreement for that. And then we had the meeting with the Millers last week and came to an agreement on what we would do, because there's more than just one business now on those 3 homesteads. So.
Okay.
Is this the first conditional use permit for the business in this area?
I don't know if
No, we've had, the other item that you talked about, the
Mhm.
lumber, they have one. This is the second. I'm gonna try to get the third one.
Yeah, there should be another one, but for some reason,
Okay.
he doesn't have it signed, and the business has been there for a while. So that's the other issue, is that they build, and we are now aware of the fact that we need to let the
The
zoning,
counties.
county know that there's buildings going up to make sure they have the building permits. Because that was maybe an issue a little bit in the past.
Well, that was kind of our issue, was it went from agriculture, and I'm pretty sure CRP ground that was in contract for the next 10 or 15 years, because we were bidding on the ground and got outbid. And then it ended up getting sold. And now it's all these different homesteads / businesses.
Mhm.
And so the whole, everything has changed. And so that's the other thing. It's just not what it's been. And it's never been that way. And now there's been this huge shift in the traffic. And that's why we're also like, I don't know, it's just been a,
Well, the biggest thing is
I'm sorry, sir, name, address.
Brian Debenham, 981 3600 Avenue. The only problem I got is when we built our house, they made us get big permits and the septic system. We had to check 3 times before we got okay to do it and everything. I'm just wanting to make sure all the septic systems are doing right. We're doing all right, because I know we had to go through it to pay taxes and get building permits, and they're out there 3 times on our house while we were building, going through it, looking at everything. I'm just wanting to make sure, because it seems like, whenever we start building something, boy, they're out there in a heartbeat on a building permit, but there seems to be buildings jumping up everywhere. Just want to make sure everything's equal to everybody.
Environmental Services is aware of this area, and they have been on top of making areas as well for septics and things.
Okay.
And wells.
I make just an anecdotal comment. I know Wally and Hayes Township, where you and I are, we've had a road maintenance agreement for a long time, because I think my neighbor to the west years ago wanted more of the road rocked, and they did it themselves for 2 years before the township picked it up. It's surprising to me that any township in the county aren't aware that that's a thing. So maybe the next township days, maybe that could be a topic if they're control.
Yeah.
Townships. Have a road maintenance.
It was a topic last year.
It was, yeah.
And we shared ours with another township,
Yeah.
because I don't think that all the townships have them.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, any other public comment? Open for public comment. We will close it, and that will be the end of it. Sure, please. Podium and name and address, please.
My name is Ken Keltner, none of you know me. I own the property, or a co-owner of the property across from the business that's going up at Cheap and 3500 Road.
Okay.
I understand that times change, and where I live, many Amish have moved. Times change. I would suggest with zoning though, if you're switching property from ag to retail, which is what this is, maybe you need some guidelines on, and that, just like the cattle barn is right beside the road. Well, a lot of them are in Kansas, right beside the road. I understand that. But this retail, is it gonna be right beside the road? Or is it gonna be, if you're rezoning the property, just a thought for you, that maybe, I haven't seen that map either. I don't know if this building's right beside the road, or if cars and trucks are gonna be parked in the road or not. I'm not really, I'm just.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was gonna.
No, that's okay. You can answer my question.
Yeah, I was gonna interject. When you're talking about zoning, this would be for a conditional use permit. This doesn't change the zone of that district. What it does is, when got rid of like commercial and industrial zones. What you're talking about is a classification now that the appraisers use for tax purposes, but this is, this will be based on what they submitted for their site plan, about 70 feet from the center of the road.
Okay, I hadn't seen that, so you're answering my question.
Okay.
But if it hasn't been addressed, I would suggest, even if it's not a rezoning, if it's a conditional zoning, you know, that you might want to think about those things for future. Sounds to me like you're gonna have lots of future requests for zoning. From what I'm hearing here, I live in a county that has no zone. So I'm not used to zoning. So I don't know what conditional changes mean necessarily. I know that zoning in cities, certain buildings are required to not be in a residential area. It can't be within so many feet of the property line. So if you're gonna conditional zone this to retail, just something to think about, gentlemen. Not here to, you don't know me. I live in Missouri. My son married a lovely young lady from out here. That's how come he got a piece of property there. He's at another meeting and could not be here tonight. So sorry about the details of that. But it is something to consider because, and as I forgot his name, Aden, you know, the letter we got said produce, shoes, and tools. He said, and whatever a little bit ago. So it appears to me the zoning request is widening out a little bit here. So I am concerned about my son's property across the road to know, you know, he bought a property 15 miles from town thinking there won't be any retail out here. So just food for thought for you. I'm not asking for you to respond in any way, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Can anybody tell me from the center of the road to the property where your closest building could be built? Is it 70 feet, 50 feet, 60
That would
feet?
be Tim with the building permit.
Yeah. It's, we have 70 feet from the center line of the road
From the center line of the road?
yeah. For all structures.
Does that answer your question?
It does,
Very good.
because then we got a building wrong.
Or, well, if that language, we'll address that at a different, at a different time.
Minor detail, but some roads will have a 50-foot easement, some roads. will
Yeah,
have a
it
40
varies.
easement.
Yeah.
And then once you're outside the easement, then typically you look at 20 feet, so.
Yeah.
So it could be a 50-foot easement. Plus 20 feet.
50 feet, 20 feet, would put you 70 feet.
Right, yeah, but some roads, if they're minimum maintenance or if they're old dirt roads, I mean, I don't know each township, but it could be a 40-foot easement.
Yeah.
And then 20, so somebody's got the facts there, but it can vary just slightly is all I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. It varied, the right of way will vary all over the county that way, you know, some will be wider than others.
Okay, can I segue off something he said, because I had the same thought. When he said, yeah, these things or whatever, and then in the application it says miscellaneous items. And I'm not suggesting this would be a retail item sold there, but a couple decades ago, the county got hoodwinked into a retail establishment that has less than savory retail outlet. And had there been had a better job been done of defining that might have had a different result. So is it legal, moral, ethical for us to ask that these miscellaneous items be defined or excluded? In other words, can we list tools is fine, agricultural produce is fine, you know, clothing, you know, boots, whatever is fine, but
you can do what you did last month, which is like what you did when you said seed only for the one.
Yeah, we talked about fertilizer and chemical.
Yeah, and so seed only, you can just limit it to whatever they've got on their on their application and take the miscellaneous.
Aden, would that be acceptable to you if we just said, tools, agricultural produce, clothing, would that be sufficient? Would that get you?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I guess if they don't want me to put a star in, we can just scratch idea and be over with.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just want to define this just a little bit tighter, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to limit you on what you can do. Would agricultural produce and clothing and tools, would those three items cover you? Or would there be?
I mean, can we sell any snacks like chips or anything like that?
I don't know
Yeah, if it's,
I guess you could say food products.
Yeah.
maybe, But
yeah, and as long as they aren't, like, what is it, processed outside, yeah.
So we could sell any food, but not processed on site.
Right, prepackaged food,
Yeah,
prepackaged.
like canned goods, baked
Like
goods.
Wilma couldn't sell her
Yeah.
jellies or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Desserts or whatever. Couldn't. No.
Okay. Yeah. But like anything that are in between that isn't prepared food, we could sell, right?
Right, it's anything that's prepackaged,
Yeah.
as long as it's,
Cheetos.
Cheetos or something like that, yeah, snack stuff, it's fine.
I've got a question or comment. So back what James said about the three items listed only. So if we're talking about food items, whether they're processed or whether they're packaged. So my question is, who's gonna police that?
State.
Say again?
We can put KDHE, because they'll have the, we can always have the state look at it and make sure. And enforce it.
Okay, when you say we, okay, so the concern is from the public here, it seems. They're gonna come to you and then you're gonna notify KDHE and then
and I would do-
KDHE will go out and.
I would do an investigation.
You would before
I
you
would-
call?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
do an investigation. And then KDHE.
Okay, any other public comment?
My issue isn't really what they're selling. I don't care about that. My issue is the increased traffic. Because the roads are already being torn up with only the 3 families or whatever they're there. My issue are the increased people. I don't care what they're selling there, whatever. Mine is just what it's gonna do to roads and to everything else and us getting through and our machinery and that's my biggest concern. It's I sell whatever you want. I don't care, but it's just how much traffic and how many people are going through there and how much it's gonna tear up the road and how much it's taking from our roads being maintained because now we're maintaining roads that didn't need that much maintaining before. And that's what our biggest issue too is I don't know, I think that's gonna become a big problem. It's just the increased traffic because it's already been a problem with just 3 families.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Moral Drive, 1370 Road, Abilene, Kansas. I'm not involved in your township. But I'm just listening to this conversation. And I think Tim mentioned that it used to be historically that the road permit was on the back of the CUP application. Did I understand that correctly?
On the back of the building permit application.
On the back of the building, okay.
Yes.
But that wasn't the case when this permit for this home was given, is that correct?
Well, the policy was still there,
But nobody
but
knew it.
it was the township did. But I'm just saying the township had their agreement, I think.
No.
No.
We didn't have.
They didn't have an agreement?
No, and the way I understood, there were no building permits.
I think the problem started quite a while back, and that makes it more difficult for you now.
Okay, we're still open for public comment. We greatly appreciate the comments that's come in. I'll ask one more time for public comment, and then we'll close public comment. We'll have a discussion amongst the board. We may have questions for the public or for the applicant. Does anybody else have an interest in addressing the board? With that, we will close public comment this time and open it up to board discussion. Who wants to start?
I will. Aiden, I've got a question for you. So I'm just thinking about a really rural area. Tools, agricultural produce, clothing, that makes sense. Trying to figure out who's gonna stop in there for a bag of Cheetos. I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking about where the area where Wally and I live, it's pretty rural, quite a few people, but I'm just not understanding the making a quick trip out of it. And I don't exaggerate,
that-
help me understand that.
Yeah, well, what it is, the Amish, they'll come to our store. It's kind of community thing. This isn't gonna, if we get 5-10 customers a day, it's gonna be good. Because I'm not expecting any more than that. I mean, if I get more than 5 customers a day, it'll be good.
Comment. I heard it brought up that no building permits were got previously on some buildings that were put up.
And the only reason they knew was because I had called about something, and that's how they found out that the buildings were going up. They're not gonna know unless someone calls them, and we didn't have a road agreement at the time. So there were some buildings that were put up or were being put up that did not have building permit. Because how would they know if they didn't come in to get building permits?
Okay, so Tim, let's address that, because that's a question I have, is it appears that there was some construction going on without a permit, is that correct?
That's correct.
Has that been corrected?
Yes.
Okay, so now they are permitted.
Yes.
After the fact.
Yeah.
Are there consequences to that?
We double charge for a permit. Yeah. And we can charge legally up to $500 for a fine.
Okay.
But
And our health and environmental services, then they're also included in that building permit to make sure septic, well, et cetera,
yeah,
are appropriate.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I guess maybe I shouldn't be talking, but when they get a building permit, then do they come out and check to make sure septic and everything? Now that this sounds like that's a.
Septic,
They do.
they do go out there and check for septic, and if there's a well, they check for a well, because they have to get a septic and well permit.
So, but somewhere the form wasn't on the back of the building permit to go to
It was
township
yeah.
to get the road improved. So they got a building permit. There was not an agreement with the township. And now the township is coming after the fact and saying, hey, we need to get this cleared up.
Right, because the majority of permits, both the ones that I was catching when I was out, and also what the appraisers have been doing, which, they'll catch a lot of stuff too. We're on improved surfaces, and so we only had like maybe one that was on an unimproved, and that's what really started this whole thing up again, because when you get further out into those more rural townships, I'm only one person, and I have, a staff, when I talk about staff, I mean, Janelle has caught stuff for me, as far as that I might not catch. So people are making aware of things that are going on, that I can send letters, get that corrective action going.
I think the one public comment was that this had started quite a while ago. The problem started quite a while ago. It sounds that's sounds like that is correct. But I think it behooves us that we address that. I'm for economic development in Dickinson County, and I'm for improvement, I'm for growth. This is gonna continue to happen. And so I think we need to maybe plan on what stopgaps we can put in so that county communicates with townships. Road and maintenance agreements are, the roads are very vital. And the maintaining of those roads are very vital. And I think a communication just to help us in the future. Sorry, Dr. Rambling, that what?
No, I hear you loud and clear about growth. I think the key word is managed growth. We're just not, just come on, do whatever you want to do and it's okay, because that's part of the process is managed growth. That you have to comply with certain things.
Well, and it's sort of like the disclaimer that we have on our building permits that says it's an ag disclaimer for people who are moving from the city into the country that says you may be subject to noises, smells, vibrations, that sort of thing that you're not really familiar with living in the city. Something similar to people who want to have that same kind of a disclaimer about, when you come out to more rural areas of the county, on unapproved services, saying you may have to enter into road maintenance agreements and enter into all kinds of agreements and communicate with the township, for people moving out there.
Part of our comprehensive plan says that, we've got corridors along the blacktops primarily. There's some rock roads, but primarily blacktops where we would want to see development, particularly retail. Does this just really not fall within that? Would this just be outside of that? Again, just because comprehensive plan might not like it, I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying, it seems like a retail outlet there will not fit ideally with the comprehensive plan.
Well,
I'm like Mark, anything we can do to raise money, I'm good with that, but.
As mentioned though, in my report, I said that, this is in an area that is specifically calls out agricultural, agricultural uses, but that, and I say these areas may have infrastructure that might have to be coordinated with the township on. So it doesn't necessarily prohibit development in that area. It just means that there might be some extra hurdles.
So you've got a five-year agreement
On businesses. Yes.
on this particular business.
Yes. Yeah, and it will be prorated though, because they've already paid 2 years of rock.
Right. So
Yeah.
3 more than.
It's not because they paid for the rock, because they haven't been paying for the rock because we didn't have the road agreement.
Okay.
But now that they're putting the businesses on, we had a meeting last week and they agreed we prorate however long they live there up to get to the 5 years.
Have they paid for any rock so far?
Yes.
They have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I never
Well,
did.
Willie did.
Yeah,
think.
Willie did, but I bought the property from another guy. Another guy was involved in it, first time rock.
Mhm.
I bought the property like year after he bought it, so. He paid for rock, yeah.
No, we
And-
didn't. That guy didn't pay for the rock.
Well, it was from Willie. and-
Willie paid on 3,400. He put rock down, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did they put any rock on Jeep?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they-
was part of the agreement.
Yeah, that was part of the agreement.
Okay, that's right, the initial one, but then we didn't have the road agreement, the
Up-
commitment for 2 years.
Yeah,
or
up
5
to the
years.
north house.
That's right,
And then Willie put 2 loads of gravel on last year.
but that road also got tore up by Willie.
This whole
winter,
thing
so,
is an evolution.
no,
So Tim, I have a question. You have your staff recommendations. There's 3 recommendations
Yeah.
as conditions of approval.
Yes.
If the board would vote to approve it tonight, nothing could happen until those conditions were met.
Right.
How long is that approval good for? If it takes a while to,
Yeah, good time.
Yeah, it'll have to go.
It still
Yeah, it
goes.
still goes, so the county commission can still
What
have.
if it takes a while for KDHE, a couple months or longer? Or the township, there's a hiccup in that road maintenance agreement.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, there are, in the past, it's been pretty quick, to get a response, but like I say, as times have changed, I don't know. I can't comment as to how that's going to impact now. But I can tell you in the past, it's been fairly quick, once we start coordinating with the different townships. When, when they had the budget, for it and when they had the rock for it. But it's, right now, I don't know, based on what they're saying, it's hard, I can't comment on that.
Just with the improper drainage and whatnot, the question in my head is, do we table it and let that be resolved? I don't know.
I think that's a very good comment. In fact, my question to you, Tim, this piece of property that is asking for a CUP, is there any other infractions that have not been solved with the county at this time?
Not at this time, just those that were mentioned.
But there are those that are mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. That answers that thing.
I'm gonna speak my piece here, okay? We're betting on a commonwealth of things. If we're going to approve something, I'd like to see that in hand. Because in the past, and one of the things in the past was the salvage yard. Janelle's grinning, that can got kicked back and forth down the road, and that's my point. And about the one salvage yard we approved years back, they could only have so many cars, and that's why I made the comment earlier. Who's gonna go count the cars? And then all these decent people out here, and I mean that, they call, you're the bad guy now, because you called and made life a little more miserable for me because I did something I shouldn't have been doing. And that's what happens. It's like, I'll be honest, I've called in before because something wasn't right, but it's like, Tim's one guy, he can only do so much, but I guess the county depends on us to make sure everybody's dealing off the top of the deck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel comfortable with going in and approving something and who's gonna keep. Somebody's not carrying the flag up front, usually it doesn't happen because somebody's got to keep pushing that. And the state has 50 million KDHE things that they're trying to police. That's my 2 cents for it. I'm not against growth, don't get me wrong.
No,
But if it was all here, I would feel comfortable.
Kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, we know all these cases going on of drainage and stuff running into the ditches. It's not taken care of when it should have, and I don't feel comfortable really allowing it until we know everything has been taken care of pre-hand without having a set time frame of you need 60 days to take care of all this and KDHE approve it, otherwise the CUP is no more. I'd like to see it all done before we allow it.
The other question I have on this site drawing, so now we're being told that the runoff, yes, all it is going into the township ditch. So if we take that away, then where does that go? I mean, I don't know. I don't see any contour on here.
Well, the thing is, I've been out there.
Okay.
And it's this pretty steep contour that goes down to the road. But you have a hill up here and it's drains off, and that's where the drainage is supposed to be. And I said, I've already been out on that. That's the drainage is fine. It's just what's coming out. And so there was questions as to what was coming out. So you can only have water coming out. And the concern was there was more water coming out of there, and it looked like, based on what Mark Tannehill and I saw out there, it looked like probably a little more.
And Wally, I share your concern as far as my personal position. You all heard this from it before. This is not an acceptable site plan. I'll be honest with you, putting aside the other infractions, I will vote to deny this simply because that's not a sufficient site plan in the story. For me,
Okay, let me explain again to you. In Article 14, this meets whatever the requirements for Article 14 are.
there's not even a scale to it, Tim.
Did you not get this revision?
This one here?
Yes.
No. I mean, what's the scale?
What's this?
What's the scale? 1:4. I didn't get that.
It was in your packet that I emailed you.
Have you not seen it? I stand corrected. I was looking at so we've got 2 site plans?
Yeah. Got one that was a corrected, I had it corrected. With the,
I stand corrected.
What should the address be? How many feet off of 3,500?
It's- that would be up to mapping to determine where their driveway is relative.
Yes.
That one there with the scale on it.
Any other discussion amongst the board? Staff, any other input? Then do I hear a motion?
To deny it until all KDHE drainage and stuff has been taken care of. Until we have physical proof that it's been addressed and changed where it should be to help, and then we can relook at it at that point. It seems like there's too many things open right now that.
Then you table it then.
Yeah, table it until everything's taken care of.
So with that said, table it for until such time as that are all met, because we're gonna meet again in
Right,
30 days.
right.
So do we say that we're gonna table it for 30 days, or he just said until all of them are met?
Here's the thing, condition that I put on there is there can be no building permit issues. Structures that are proposed. Till all those conditions that I mentioned are met. So you can recommend approval with those conditions, as long as those conditions are met. And resolved. You don't necessarily have to table it, because we do this all the time with, anything that involves, either state or federal laws. In the case of, like, let's say telecommunication towers, we always say we recommend approval on the condition that they submit FAA paperwork and letters from the FCC as required. So this would be no different. This is just you can recommend approval on the condition that the building permit be issued on these structures that he's proposing until such time as these don't recall. Because if you table it, I don't, I mean, it could be, it's any number of, months before things resolved. So usually what the planning commission does is their recommendation is usually historically has been based on staff acquiring that information on those conditions. KDHE approval. So then I'll issue the bill. So you want to your or you don't have,
Probably keep it the same.
okay? There's been a motion to deny the permit. Is that correct? Correct. Is there a second? Question. Go ahead.
And when something is denied, is there a length of time that it cannot come back again?
A year.
That's what I thought.
But if you're recommending denial, then it goes to the county commission still, and they could deny it as well, and then that.
They can overturn our
Yeah,
recommendation.
Yeah.
So if we deny, it's, for us, it's long here.
Yeah, well, right now, we're a lack of a second for the motion. I'll call for a second one more time.
I'll second it.
Okay. There's been a motion to deny, there's been a second. We now will open it up for discussion. Well, if no one will start, I guess I will. I'm not necessarily in favor of the denial. I think maybe I'm more in favor of tabling it. I am not in favor of approving it. I think there's too much gray area here, especially with the township, whether we've paid for rock or whether we have not. We did a building permit and there was no township agreement. It's gotten pretty watered down. And so I am not in favor of approving anything with conditions. I agree that I want to, with Wally, I want to see it done. Come back, show me. And we don't have to rely on Tim doing a lot of footwork. He's got a whole county to cover. If this is important to the applicant, then they'll get it taken care of and they will come back and spend the time to do it appropriately. My 2 cents. So with that, I'm not necessarily in favor of denial. I'm more in favor of tabling it until it's corrected and have them come back.
That's the side of the fence I'm leaning on, is tabling and addressing the KDHE issues. For me, it would also be helpful to do a little bit more redefining of exactly what the retail will entail. Leave out miscellaneous, but give the applicant the opportunity to just really dial in the products for sale.
Any other discussion?
I'd be okay with that.
Well, we've got the motion, we've got a second, and so we need to vote on this one. And so if you're in favor of the motion of denying this, which will mean it'll be gone for a year, all those in favor, I'm sorry, of approving this motion, all those in favor of approving this motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed to this motion, raise your right hand. Okay, then the motion was not approved, it was disapproved. Do I hear, is there a need for any more discussion?
Tim, on, when we table an item, is there a time frame that's usual and customary there? Is it 90 days? That we've done, well, we don't do it very often, but
Well,
maximum of.
well, when you table something, we can examine it every 30 days. See if-
But it
every
needs to come off the table.
30 days.
So I'm saying, what I am saying is that every 30 days, what I will do is I will tell you. Okay, give us an update, give you an update.
So
now
one
what's
day
going
on
on.
each.
Then, okay, when everything's there, then I will schedule it for you all.
So if we table it for, would you suggest is 90 days appropriate? Would you prefer 120 days, 6 months? If you were in our shoes, what would you?
I would start with 60 because that's usually 60 days is what we give for people to start building permits, even though this wouldn't be a building permit. I'm going to try to be consistent, say 60 days.
So with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming around the corner, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this for 90 days. I'm guessing to mid-January. Make a motion to table it for 90 days and give the applicant time to address the questions that the board has and address these items 1 through 3 that Tim has. Look for monthly update from Tim.
There's been a motion to table CUP 25-04.
Second.
And now there's a second. Thank you. I'll open up the floor for discussion. Or is there any need for more discussion? I'll go ahead and call the vote. There's been a motion and a second. There's been a motion to table CUP 25-04. All those in favor of tabling that for 90 days, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Yes, 5-minute break. Have you any questions?
So, and the other gentleman that's back here, he was our first because he didn't remember. And so we went back to these guys and said, well, starting out as a pension. And you know, it's, and we have, they say people.
Good.
Yes.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I haven't seen it, but the way that's why.
It's straightforward, and it lays out what you expect as the council, what you expect from us. That's.
And we're right. We have abortions there, they're selling this, considered a business.
Since I actually was.
Okay.
I know, there's a lot of things.
So that's what scarcity and honestly, you sort of other standard homes. What I'm.
Yeah.
And that makes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's good.
My issue was.
The next one.
They actually sent me a letter, I haven't read it yet, so they're gonna be signing this out.
Yes, yeah, that was my issue, like, outside of that, I understand, it's like, that's, you get a big rating or whatever. Oh, yeah. Going right in there. Exactly.
That's what's good to see you.
I couldn't see you face to face. I keep seeing all this on.
He's big on.
The other day, I thought, everybody has.
And that's why you can't see me. It's like, it's all, it's like, it's all.
Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
You know
We
why?
may stay in later class.
You know why?
My chair was talking that.
I know, it's not a problem.
So they're still trying to figure out. Up there. They got
Okay, can you go ahead and bring the board back in, please? And I'm here, so I'm ready to go.
So I mean, everybody's reading their timeline stuff. I don't want to do this and I will see if I can.
So, we have the board in attendance.
Yep.
Tim, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. We'll, I don't know. Reconvene. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. What do you do if you have a four-wheel drive tractor?
Where you guys?
What do you?
I didn't think the other ones up there.
Going down. That's being different, being a flexible business car. What? If this is going to continue to be an increase in population, which I'm not against.
Right.
But if it's going to continue to be an increase in population, how do you?
Oh, we have to leave one of them open because this is still public meeting. Hey, Lori, we have to leave it open because this is, yeah, it's still public meeting. Yes.
So is there anything that we should be thinking about as a county or zoning board or commissioners, I don't know,
Well,
about how we navigate those when those cultures kind of collide? I don't.
well, a little.
Janelle, you're smiling. It's like.
Tell the township, we can't tell the township.
we deal with that every day.
You do.
But the county.
Do more education.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
the township got an education of
Sure.
what,
But can the county help the township?
Right, that's kind of what I'm
We can
wondering.
provide guidance.
Yeah, in other
We
words.
can provide guidance.
The thing we
Because
do,
they're a taxing entity, so if they want to make improvements like that, that's on their mill levy to do.
the thing I think about is the piece that we wrote several years ago, Wally, you were on there, that says, hey, if you're moving out in a rural area, you
Yes.
gotta be aware, and
Yes.
we sold a home site several years ago. And I put that in the contract. They had to read it and they had to sign
Sign
it,
it,
they
yes.
agreed to that. Is there anything that we would want to do in addition to that, like, I don't know what it would be, but notifying people that, you know, when you move out there, in addition to the smells and the noises and the, you know, whatever, you may have to turn your car or horse and buggy around and go the other way, because there may be a combine with a 24-foot header, 28-foot header, whatever, coming down the road, and they're not turning around. You have to be the one to turn around and go the other way.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that?
Tim can certainly bring that up when they come in and get a building permit,
Yeah.
you know, but there's also some responsibility on the person that's buying that piece of property.
Yeah,
And
right.
you know as well as I do, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink,
Right, yeah.
because they don't always want to do that either.
and they don't always build.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, do they sign that agreement, that acknowledge, or is it an acknowledgement? Do they have to sign it?
They have to sign.
They have to sign it,
Yeah.
if they know they're moving into a rural area.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's on the building permit.
But
Yeah.
that's
That's a
Well,
big
that's
deal.
big bill,
so
right, you're right.
have a, for lack of a better term, welcome letter when it's registered deeds with the living in rural Dickinson County. To notify when ground transfers. I mean, that's really when
There's not
the
much we can,
communication needs to start.
that would be difficult to do.
Sale of property,
Right,
because there may not be a building permit, and in fact, they may build without a building permit, which appears that maybe this has happened once or twice.
Oh, it absolutely does.
so is there a Dickinson County piece of paper that can say, welcome to Dickinson County?
That's hard to enforce because, again, it's one of those things where, you know.
But then we can say, you did not know about it, it was with your deed.
That was something that I discussed with the register of
Right,
deeds, 'cause I'll talk to the register of deeds.
It's an extra, I hear you loud and clear, but it's another policing action that I'm not denying that we probably need. But again, who's going to do it?
Right.
It's easy to say, James, you're gonna do, and James, I got 11 things in the fire right now. But, you know, and I'll bring this up, we had property sell out by me, and our zoning regulations talk about splits. And those are, it's. And it was sold to 4 or maybe 5 different folks. And by our regulations, you can't do that, but he didn't know about it until after the fact. So what are you gonna do?
Unfortunately, that happens regularly.
Yeah, that's what I'm
How
saying.
big were those acreages?
Huh?
How big were the acreages?
Well, part of them was though, is you can only split an 80, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of times like 40, but.
Yeah, and
But
so,
if it's 80, because what I've done and what previous staff has interpreted is that if you exceed 40 acres and you're creating lots that exceed 40 acres, you don't have to get them platted, but you have to get, you'll have to go through me for an administrative spot.
So we
Anyway,
have
thank you.
Anna, yes, Anna Kerslick with Stinson online, and she has been contracted with the county to provide legal guidance on your zoning regulations with regard to alternative energy sources, starting off with the hydrogen.
And she's with who?
Stinson,
Stinson? That's the name of the law firm?
yes.
And tonight, basically what I'm going to do is talk to you about wells, because wells, hydrogen wells. Not hydrogen energy tonight, hydrogen wells. And I've basically at a previous commission meeting, question was raised while discussing hydrogen wells regarding whether existing and new natural gas and oil wells in the county would require any special permitting. Currently, if you read section 2.102, which is the Ag 80 permitted uses, and 3-102 Ag 40 permitted uses, both state that as a permitted use, wellhead stations, well separators, tank batteries, or other similar above ground facilities used merely for distribution, transmission, or temporary storage of oil or natural gas, and the phrase oil and or gas well drilling operations and temporary on-site storage of oil and gas field related to equipment and supplies, but not a junkyard. We have that right now in our regulations. Staff has consulted with a number of area counties, including Allen, Ford, Morris, Harvey, Jefferson, McPherson, Crawford, and Fillmore County in Nebraska even. All allow oil and gas drilling by right in an agricultural district, which is what we do. With the exception of Jefferson County, all stated that they would allow hydrogen drilling without any permits. Morris County is not zoned, but said they allow hydrogen wells provided the company enters into a road maintenance agreement with Public Works. Based on staff research, the initial construction of hydrogen wells involves temporary placement of construction trailers and equipment, which is no different than natural gas and oil well drilling. County Counsel has also indicated that oil and gas wells are governed by the state level by the Kansas Conservation Commission, and local municipalities, including the county, are limited as to the regulation of these uses. Staff is recommending modifying the language in both 2.102 and 3.102 to include hydrogen wells as a permitted use, essentially treating hydrogen wells the exact same way you would treat an oil or a natural gas well. A second option would be to allow hydrogen wells as a permitted use, provided consultation with Road and Bridge Department on whether a road maintenance agreement would be required. Commission directives direct staff to either compose a resolution based on the above referenced options to be considered at the November meeting, or or make no changes to 2102 or 3102 at this. So. And I have a caveat, Jefferson County said that they would require a conditional use permit, but only because they don't address it as a permitted use yet. They said they are thinking of making that a permitted use. So all the counties consulted, and I forgot to include Finney County. I went all the way out to western Kansas. They all allow oil and natural gas wells, hydrogen wells as well as a permitted use.
So do we have, is it in the current rules and regs for what we think about as far as traditional oil and gas? If there's a new oil and gas well storage tanks goes up, does that require, is it in our rules and regs now where that new well, new storage facility requires a road maintenance agreement with the township?
No. It's what I think has been done in the past is if there's an issue that comes up with whether it's the township or the road and bridge department, they're usually pretty good at, they know that they can talk directly to that company that's doing that. They'll usually catch it, and it's up to them to kind of resolve that issue. It's not anything that we can necessarily put in our regulations to enforce that. That would be a road and bridge department or township policy.
And we don't permit any of those wells anyway, so we really don't know what's happening when or where. We might be the landowner in the township, or that just if they happen to whatever. So
yeah.
So if we added hydrogen if we named hydrogen to go with traditional oil and gas and actually name that, then it would just fall under that same thing. There'd be no requirement of anything. So if somebody in Cheever Township said, hey, they said, hey, we want to drill on your land. They said, great, come on and do it. And they bring, I don't know, rigs in, whatever that means, and tear the road up. Cheever Township would possibly have to just eat that additional rock and build the road back.
Right.
Same as county.
Same as county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we had
Unless you had an agreement. Right.
With that landowner or with that vendor.
And again, that would be a policy with road and bridge or the township with the landowner.
Do they need to get a permit to drill a well? So they don't need to talk to, so how would road and bridge even know they're doing it?
Because they're all over the place. Road and bridge knows that, or unless somebody, but it says they know.
But, okay, does road and bridge have the authority to implement a policy that you've got to pay for rock?
Yeah.
They do.
They've got, they have the authority to do that. Yeah.
We've got the reg that says oil and gas, and isn't hydrogen hydrogen going to be a gas?
Yeah. Natural gas and hydrogen gas.
There's three different pillars of it, but yeah.
Hydrogen is part of this. I mean, natural gas is just organic.
So do we need to add the word hydrogen, or can we just go with our current regulations?
That's up to you. I think that we could probably just, if we do that, then we would need to say, we could word it as any commodity coming from the ground. I think that's how Jefferson County words it is any commodity coming from the ground.
Well, I don't think I'd like that. It just seems, coal and gold mining.
Yeah.
So currently it's oil and gas is how it's listed. Is that correct?
Right.
And methane's a gas,
Hydrogen's
natural's gas.
Yeah.
Hydrogen is gas.
Yeah.
So do any counties in Kansas disallow?
No.
No, okay.
And Jefferson County is looking to do a conditional use permit for each potential well.
For hydrogen, only because they don't have it addressed yet, like we're trying to address now in ours. But they said they would allow it once it's addressed in their regs.
Does county or townships, by legal precedence, do they have the ability, again, if somebody comes in, they don't know it, they just plow down the road with their rigs, go in, drill a well, they're hauling, wastewater out and hauling tanks in, and then they leave and the road's a mess. Does the township and county, is it usual and customary for them to be able to sue those whoever damaged the road? I'm thinking, is there not a precedence for if you damage the road, you have to fix it? Farmer's going down the road, accidentally drops a disc in the road.
Yes, we have done that and we've gone after their insurance company for that. Yes,
And
yes.
so
But in the normal wear and tear of travel of a road, when people are going in and out in this type of a business, most likely that wouldn't happen.
probably wouldn't fly.
Because how, again, is that different than your milk truck going across? Or how is it different than your combine?
A
that's-
combine and a grain truck.
Exactly,
You gave that example last time.
yes,
And,
yeah,
and that,
yes. Is that when you guys were on the township, and Wally's still on, but when you were on that, is that something that came up?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, I thought you were too.
Hey, but-
Come on.
I'm not. Such a slacker.
Yeah.
I got the question, for your comment, that's no different than a combine or your milk truck coming in. I don't think the milk truck's gonna go on a dirt road.
We've got something to do.
really?
We do, yes.
And the combines are 4 weeks a year, spring, summer and fall, and maybe 8,
Yeah, you'd like to think people, including the little guys, would have sense enough, hey, it's too wet, we're not gonna go down the road. I mean, you would hope that, but
Oh.
if they're under timelines, pressure to get it
I
done.
have a road map that tells me what all the conditions of the road are, and I always plan my route that way based on whether it rains.
Yeah.
Do you have a question for Anna about?
I do actually. So in here it says Kansas Conservation Commission regulates oil and natural gas. Is it up to Kansas Corporation Commission? Maybe the Conservation
I think so.
Commission of that? Okay. So local municipalities are limited to what?
So, good evening, commissioners, and yes, this is Anna Kursulich speaking. I'm, as Janelle and Tim have noted, I am a partner at Stinson, and I specialize in planning and zoning matters. I also have colleagues who specialize in oil and gas matters, which is very helpful for things like this. But the specific limitations are that you can't duplicate the regulations that the Kansas Corporations Commission and or KDHE may have in place. And you can't require a license or permit for drilling or production of oil and gas wells. And you can't impose a fee or charge for drilling or production of oil or gas wells. And that's all specific to wells.
Okay, so as far as, setbacks to roadways, residences, schools, any existing structure, is that something we can look at?
That would depend on whether it is regulated by KCC or KDHE. And what we would do is see what kind of regulations you may want to impose, and then we would check that just to see what they regulate to make sure it wouldn't be duplicating.
Okay.
It should be noted also that we don't really require any setbacks now for the current oil and gas wells.
My concern is abandoned wells. Is there anything the county can do to prevent an abandoned well not being completely and adequately plugged?
That is an excellent question, and I don't know the answer to that. But I'd be happy to look into that and share with staff.
As far as dimensions of a well site, is that something KCP or KDHE sets?
And again, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. Not as familiar with the KCC regulations as my partner who specializes in oil and gas. But here again, I would just check anything that you're interested in possibly regulating. I'm taking notes about this, and I would check on these types of items.
Absolutely. One big question I have, I had gotten on the KCC website, you know, saw there's like 400 pages of regulations for oil and natural gas specifically. I did not see that hydrogen gas on its own was mentioned. Has the state of Kansas decided if KCC regulates hydrogen? Have they decided what the hierarchy is of who has control?
It is considered a gas, so it would be something that KCC would regulate.
But I didn't see that it
as far as
mentioned in the regulations. Do you see where I'm going with that? It didn't specifically say hydrogen. It referenced hydrogen sulfide, I think it was, which is a odorant, but not just hydrogen on its own, you know, with the research Tim's presented as being a fairly new use, you know, just was curious exactly where, if that determination of regulation had been made.
Would you repeat the last part? I didn't hear that clearly.
I guess my question would be, what reference could I read to show that KCC is regulating hydrogen gas?
Okay. I will confirm. I'll see if I can find something that I can specifically point to.
Perfect.
Tim, can I ask same question, maybe another way? I may not have asked clearly before, but just looking at this under staff recommend modifying. It says in here the same as oil and natural gas wells. Do we, again, in our roof regs, do we say oil and gas, or do we say oil and natural gas?
It says,
in our rules and regs. I mean, here it says oil and natural gas.
it says oil or natural gas.
Is
That's the one that yes, because I have it in quotes.
Cause that's what the reg said.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it does, then we probably would have to add hydrogen as an item, but if it just simply said oil and gas, then we probably wouldn't have to add hydrogen because it is a gas, just like natural gas and whatever else. But if we specifically have called out two individual unique products, as in oil and natural gas, then if we were gonna add hydrogen, we have to, could you assume that we'd have to add that word, I suppose.
And I think we probably want to add it as a definition for oil, natural gas, and hydrogen gas. So it's fairly laid out.
And again, just to your last sentence in the same paragraph, is there no way to somehow require anybody who's going to do any of those new drilling, oil, natural gas, or hydrogen, to contact Road and Bridge, find out if it's, you know, if it's a township road or a county road? Is there any way of doing that, or there's just no way of doing that?
It would just be one of those things that would be enforced by road and bridge policy. So whoever's, like I say, happens to be on the road catching them at the time or whatever. It's a lot of these guys do know to come to us. They do know to go to road and bridge. You may have the occasional person that does not. And the one that does not, then that's one that, you know, like I say, road and bridge has policies in place, and I'm sure the townships might too, that would address that.
Same way with a building permit, we're going off the honor system, we expect you to come in and get a building permit, doesn't always happen.
With the road maintenance agreement, would that be between the township or the county and the landowner? The mineral rights owner?
Probably the
or
vendor.
The company doing the drilling,
Yes.
the exploration company?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any idea, from our research, what kind of traffic to expect from a well if it hits and is successful?
Same as if well that is successful, that's oil or natural gas well.
Well, I mean, Thomas County where I'm from, I mean, back in, the late nineties. The ants ground hit, we had trucks every day. And then as that production's tapered off, I mean, I don't know that, just based on my history of that well. I mean, is there a traffic study that would be needed of some sort with scenarios?
Not that I'm aware of, not the ones, the counties that I've consulted just said that, you know. The traffic, especially the traffic, just, you know, it would be no different than, the traffic you would see every year for like something like, you know, ag trucks going up and down.
But it would probably be
Periodically.
different than what the residents are used to, especially based on conversations we heard tonight, you know. Like, it's, not saying change is bad, change is good, but it's going, could potentially change.
But if there's already well and natural gas wells that are out there that have been in production, and when they discover it, you're going to have a temporary, you know, increase in traffic at that location where that well is going to be. And that's not something that we, you know, basically from what I understood, I said you can't really regulate that. That's not going to be easy to regulate.
So the volume of the hydrogen wells anecdotally is similar to natural gas wells.
Yes.
Give or take a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah.
How do we know that? Well, because Tim just told me. I just asked.
But it's,
They have two test wells in Nemaha County, and a test well in Nebraska and Fillmore County. I don't know that we know.
I have no idea.
well, they'll test it. And if it comes up profitable or comes up being present, then they'll expect with anything else, any other well, they'll prospect for it. And if it comes up as being positive for that particular element, then they're gonna mine it. If not, then they're gone. You know, they just disassemble everything and they're out of there.
So, okay, so in that scenario where it's a bust, how do we ensure that it's decommissioned properly and we're not left with a mess
We
in the
don't
county?
decommission any of the current wells. Regulation for decommissioning.
So that's why Morris County has abandoned wells that have not been plugged.
I can't answer.
No, I can point to the locations. I mean, they do, it is
Okay.
an issue.
Yeah.
That, you know, lack of foresight in the 1950s left landowners today with wells, however many thousands of feet that aren't capped.
I would think that would be in the agreement that they have with the property owner, how they
How
handle
they
that
would
well.
So a lot of this is between the property owner and the company.
And the company.
Bottom line is, we don't regulate any of that in any way, shape, or form because KCC or the CCC does it. So it's just kind of out of our hands. We just hope that they communicate with township or the road and bridge, county road. We just hope they notify us, hope they play nice, they don't leave a mess.
I think what Tim is saying is we don't have that decommissioning with oil or with natural gas in the regulation. And so then it's not appropriate to put it on hydrogen.
Sure.
Not that we can't change it.
I mean,
Well, but legally, we can't double legislate or whatever, right? We had double.
So,
regulate.
yeah, so how does the KCC regulate the decommissioning today?
And if they do that, then why aren't they doing it in Morris County?
Correct. I mean, they have a program but you have to find the well and report it, and then you have to have funding. And so there's a backlog of, I don't know how many thousand wells, and there's limited funds. So why don't we, if we can, on the front side, take care of it where it can't be abandoned, so we don't add to that backlog of abandoned wells?
So we can't because KCC.
Well, we'll have to ask.
regulates.
We'll have to have Anna check that out for us.
That's actually sounds like, would be a good topic for somebody in the legislature.
There you go,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll just pretty much saying that probably won't go far.
Right.
It won't make it out of committee.
There'll be some lobbyists that have an opinion.
Yeah.
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 But really, the reality is what you're saying makes perfect sense. It's just like the wind energy thing. We were, a lot of questions about the decommissioning plan. What you're saying is the exact same thing, but in that case, it'd probably have to be handled at state level.
Yeah. So what's your flavor? Of the two? Yeah, of the two, did you want to just wait until we get the answers first?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so table it. Yeah, I'll take it.
Got a theme going here.
So I'm clear, just to make sure that I have a complete list. Please let me know if I missed anything. But what I'm going to look into for potential regulation are whether KCC regulates decommissioning and possible size limitations for wells or any specific, I don't know, or we mentioned setbacks. I don't know. Is that something you would like for me to check?
Yeah, setbacks would be separate from dimensions of a well site.
Okay. And definitions, potential definitions for oil, natural gas, and hydrogen.
Yes.
Whether we could require road maintenance agreement.
Yes.
And let's see. And I believe that's it. And then of course the reference to prove or to what regulation authorizes the Kansas Corporation Commission to regulate hydrogen as well.
Yes.
Yes, working, yeah. That answers yours about where you can find, yes.
Did I miss anything?
Just get it through the Kansas House and Senate, signed by the governor, and time we can have a meeting.
You've got 30
I'll
days.
make sure that's done by the next meeting.
30 days.
And I guess the thing that we think about every day is just money doesn't grow on trees, and anything we can do to drive revenue but keep expenses in check to help with that for the county is a big deal because we all live here.
And the township.
And the township,
Township.
yeah, township and county.
We have a perfect example of a township. Fumble.
Well, I'm gonna disagree on that statement. It's not a fumble because we probably had different township officers in those roles earlier. So you might have a new board and maybe they didn't agree with it or didn't want it or anything like that. So it's still up to the township how they want to do that. It's not a fumble.
Good point. Good point.
Wally's been on for a good number of years, but we also have a lot of turnover on new township officers that have come on as well.
But you're saying that if Township Board A had a road maintenance agreement, and then 5 years later, Township Board B group doesn't want to do it, they don't have to do it.
No, it's entirely up to them. Yeah.
Kind of like, even like the county commission.
Yes, yeah.
This county commission can't hold another county commission, future county commission accountable for unless there's a resolution or whatever, but yeah.
So do we have anything else?
Do you have a motion?
You have a motion to
You just, so moved. Yeah, I said, we table that.
Okay.
Catch that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion to table
the old business.
the old, I'm not saying better than that. The old business.
Wrong.
Motion to table the old man. There's a motion to table the old business and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Tim, any other old business? No. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Following up on section 14, your questions from last month.
And what was the question again?
It was the complete inaccurate application.
Yeah, it's
Discussion.
actually, yeah, it is, I'm still looking through that. I've been sidetracked with this other stuff, so
So maybe we'll put it on next month's agenda.
well, what I'll do is I will address it under miscellaneous for old business. And I can address it then. That.
Okay, should we have it to address that in old business next meeting? Is that correct?
He's gonna put it in this room.
Miscellaneous. Very good. Any other questions?
When's Justin getting back?
I take that personal.
No, this is for your benefit. You don't want to do this twice, do you?
Yeah. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
She's got it. Is there a second? I'll second. He's got it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah. You don't spend time.
Thanks, Anna, very much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Take care.